Buffalo 0000 Mac vs. Daemen 0000 ECC November 3, 2017 Alumni Arena 8:00 p.m. Presented by DiBellas Subs. Free sub samples available to all fans. Bulls on the air radio ESPN 1520 AM WWKB tune-in app. Quick hits. The Bulls will play their second of two exhibition games on Friday night as they host the Daemen Wildcats at Alumni Arena. This is the third straight year that UB and Daemen will meet at Alumni Arena for an exhibition game. In 201,516, Buffalo won 8,768. Last year, UB won by 5 in overtime. The Bulls played their first exhibition game last Saturday afternoon, dropping an 8,072 decision in overtime at preseason Atlantic 10 favorite, Rhode Island. Junior college transfer Jeremy Harris had a double-double with 21 points and 10 rebounds. Fellow JUCO transfer Montel McRae also had a double-double with 10 points and 11 boards. Daemen head coach Mike McDonald is no stranger to coaching in Western New York. He previously served as head coach at Canisius from 1997 through 2006. McDonald had a 6-4 record against Buffalo during that time. Buffalo was picked to win the MAC East Division in the preseason polls, the second time in school history that UB was picked to win the East and the first time since 200,405. Buffalo received 24 first-place votes and 9 votes to win the MAC tournament. Juniors C.J. Massenberg and Nick Perkins were named to the preseason All-MAC East Division team, claiming 2 of the 5 spots. The Bulls returned 2 of the individual award winners from last year in Nick Perkins, who was named the MAC Sixth Man of the Year, and Dante Carruthers, who was named the MAC Defensive Player of the Year. In addition to playing the preseason Atlantic 10 champion in last week's exhibition, UB will also play the American Athletic Conference preseason champion in Cincinnati at the Cayman Islands Classic. Daemen went 199 least season and 126 in the East Coast Conference as they made it to the semifinal round of their conference tournament last season as the 4 seed. The Wildcats were nearly impossible to beat in their home gym last year as they went 142 inside the Lumsden Gymnasium. The Wildcats lost their top 2 scorers from last season, but return redshirt junior Dion Hamilton, who averaged 12.1 points per game. They also return redshirt sophomore Jeff Redband, who averaged 10.3 points per game. Redband, who had a big game against the Bulls in the exhibition last year, shot .450 from behind the arc. Buffalo came back to defeat Daemen in overtime in last year's exhibition. The Wildcats had 5 players in double figures in the game, led by Jeff Redband, who finished with 22 points, including going 6 of 11 from three-point range. Dion Hamilton added 16 points and 7 rebounds. Daemen led by as many as 4 in the final 3 minutes of regulation before UB outscored them 15-10 in the overtime period. The 201,718 season will mark Mike McDonald's 4th year as the head men's basketball coach at Daemen College. McDonald, who was introduced as the 6th head coach in the modern history of the program on September 16, 2014, has led Daemen to a 5,929 record over his first 3 seasons, giving Daemen the second most wins of any East Coast Conference team in that span. Bulls picked to win MAC East. The University at Buffalo men's basketball team has been picked to win the Mid-American Conference East Division and received 9 tournament championship votes, second most in the league. It was announced by the league office in their annual preseason poll voted on by a panel of all 12 MAC head coaches and 18 media members. The Bulls, who are led by third-year head coach Nate Oates, received 166 points and 24 of the 31st place votes in the East Division to finish atop the preseason poll. This is the second time that Buffalo has been picked as the preseason winner of the MAC East and the first time since prior to the 200,405 season. Buffalo also received 9 votes to win the 2018 MAC Tournament Championship, just 1 behind Western Michigan. Perkins and Massenberg earned preseason nod. Massenberg was named All-MAC honorable mention last year as he averaged 14.5 points and 5.6 rebounds a year ago. He is Buffalo's returning leading scorer and despite missing 8 games during non-conference play last year, he is in striking distance of 1,000 career points in just his 3rd season with the team. Massenberg had many key performances last season, including scoring the final 6 points, breaking a 9,393 tie and earning a road victory at Central Michigan. He also hit the last 2 free throws to seal a road victory at Ohio. Perkins was named the MAC Sixth Man of the Year last year, just the second player in school history to earn that honor. Perkins averaged 12.4 points and a team-high 6.7 rebounds last year as he came off the bench in 14 of 32 games, including 14 of the last 15 games of the year. Known for his 20 points in the NCAA tournament against Miami as a freshman, Perkins has always played some of his best games against top competition. He had 23 points last year at Pitt and a career-best 24 points at St. Bonaventure. He also had 21-point games against Western Michigan and Ball State. Carruthers named MAC Defensive Player of the Year. Junior Dante Carruthers became the first players in school history to be named MAC Defensive Player of the Year last season. He started 18 games during the season, averaging 5.9 points in conference games. He also led the MAC with 37 steals in league play and had 58 for the year, finishing just outside the top 10 in school history for single-season steals. He had a career-high 18 points in a road victory at Bowling Green last year, beginning a stretch of 3 straight games in double figures. Leading the charge, head coach Nate Oates begins his third year on the Buffalo sidelines, having comprised a record of 3,730 during his first 2 years. He is the only coach in UB school history to record 20 wins in his first season as a head coach, and his 37 wins in his first 2 years are the second most by a UB coach, behind only Bobby Hurley, who had 42 wins over his first 2 years. Deuces Wild one. The most of anticipated newcomers will wear 2 on the Buffalo team is junior college transfer Jeremy Harris, who came to UB from Gulf Coast College, where he was ranked as the second-best junior college player in the nation by JUCORecruiting.com. Harris led the Bulls with 21 points and added 10 rebounds in the overtime contest against Rhode Island in the charity exhibition. He had a stretch for the Bulls where he scored 8 straight points, erasing an 8-point deficit on his own. He led the team with 17 shots taken, but also added 3 assists and 3 steals. Harris is a dynamic shooter, as shown by his one performance last year where he had 10 three-pointers in a game. He is a seasoned veteran, who has played basketball at all levels, beginning with high school, before moving on to prep school for a year at Fishburne Military School. He then played 2 years in junior college before making his way to UB. Cleveland is the reason. A native of Cleveland, Ohio, Montel McRae is the new man in the middle for the Bulls. A transfer from South Plains Junior College, the same school as former UB player David Kadiri. In the exhibition against Rhode Island, McRae had 10 points and a team-high 11 rebounds, while adding an assist, 3 blocks, and a steal. McRae was part of a South Plains team ranked first nationally for much of the season as they went 322 last year. Reese Lightning freshman James Reese has already ignited the Buffalo crowd prior to even playing his first regular season game with the Bulls. It began over the summer, when Reese made national headlines for his dunks at the UB team camp, showing up on media outlets across the country. Reese's athleticism extends to just his dunking, and he made a strong impression in the charity exhibition against Rhode Island as he had 12 points on 5 of 6 shooting, including 2 of 3 from behind the arc. Reese was named the State Player of the Year in South Carolina as he played his ball for SC Flora, where he won 2 state titles, leading his team to a 212 record during his senior season. He averaged 25.0 points per game during the year. Luck of the Irish freshman Javon Graves comes to Buffalo from one of the most well-known high schools in the country in the St. Vincent Mary's out of Akron, Ohio, the same high school as NBA MVP and world champion LeBron James. Nicknamed the Fighting Irish, Graves and his high school teammates won the Ohio State Championship last season, and Graves was named the Ohio State Player of the Year. He had 3 points against Rhode Island, draining a three-pointer. Air Jordan sophomore Devonta Jordan will look to take an increased role this season, providing depth at the point guard position. Jordan played in 31 games last season, starting 5 of those early on. He started the season opener as a freshman at Niagara and finished second on the team in assists with 79. Jordan had a career-high 10 assists at nationally ranked Creighton. Mr. Jones and me. Another sophomore that will look to see more action this year is Chicago, Illinois native James Jones. Jones saw action in 14 games all off the bench for UB. He scored 7 points in Buffalo's win over Coppin State and added 5 points in 11 minutes in a win over Western Michigan. Get Smart Jr. Akane Smart returns this year for his 3rd season of competition and his 4th overall with the team. Smart, who will miss the beginning of the season due to a back injury, is the most veteran player on the roster. Smart played in 31 games last year, including 16 starts. He started 3 games in conference play before coming off the bench for 14 of the 17 MAC games he played in. He had one of his best weekends of the season early on at the Great Alaska Shootout, where he scored 10 points against Nevada and then finished with 8 points and 9 rebounds against Weber State. Rock and roll. After redshirting his first season with the Bulls last year, redshirt freshman Brock Bertram will look to make an impact off the bench for the Bulls. Bertram is the tallest player on the UB roster, and he has displayed good footwork and ball control in the post. Bertram was a finalist for Mr. Basketball in the state of Minnesota as he averaged 15.0 points and 10 rebounds per game as his team went 321 during his senior year and 1187 during his career. Please senior Wes Clark will miss the beginning of the season as he finishes his NCAA eligibility requirements, but the Missouri transfer is expected to make an immediate impact for the Bulls when he becomes eligible in mid-December. Clark played his high school basketball for head coach Nate Oates at Romulus High School outside of Detroit, where the pair won a state championship together. Staff behind head coach Nate Oates is a talented coaching staff, including 3 members that will be beginning their 3rd season with Oates on the staff. Associate head coach Jim Whitesell begins his 3rd year on the staff after coming over to the Bulls from St. John's. Whitesell is in charge of developing UB's post players and is one of the lead coaches on all scouting reports. Buffalo's recruiting coordinator Brian Hodgson has moved into the 2nd assistant role, and in addition to recruiting the majority of the UB rosters, Hodgson also works with the post players and is part of all scouting reports. Hodgson has recruited players such as Blake Hamilton, Willie Connor, and David Kadiri, who helped the Bulls to their 2nd NCAA appearance. This year, he served as the lead recruiter for all the newcomers, including Jeremy Harris, who was ranked as the 2nd best junior college player in the country. The newest addition to the staff is assistant coach Jamie Quarles, who will oversee the guards and assistant scouting. Quarles was a longtime assistant coach at Augusta University, where he was most recently named one of the top 10 young professionals to watch by Augusta magazine. After playing 4 seasons at Augusta from 200,408, Quarles picked up the clipboard and joined the coaching staff on August 30, 2011. Quarles had been the top assistant for 6 seasons from 2011 to 17 and has helped keep the Augusta Jaguars in the national spotlight. Rounding out the staff is Adam Bauman, who is in his 3rd year as director of basketball operations. Bauman is in charge of all the aspects of the program off the court, including travel, budget, and much more.